You are watching Steel and Fire, where history and military technology merge into epic storytelling. June 6, 1944. The English Channel roars as thousands of warships stretch across the horizon. Above, the thunder of aircraft merges with naval guns, heralding a storm of steel upon the beaches of Normandy. This was not merely an invasion, it was a decisive moment, where the fate of Europe hung in the balance. The Allies knew, if they failed, the shadow of fascism would endure. But if they prevailed, the gates of liberation would open, forever altering the course of human history. By early 1944, Europe lay in darkness. Nazi Germany controlled almost the entire continent, from Paris to Warsaw. In the east, the Soviet Union struggled against relentless assaults. In the west, Britain stood as the lone fortress, enduring constant bombardment. The Allies knew, without opening a new front, the balance of war would tilt irreversibly toward Germany. In the months leading up to D-Day, urgency filled the air. Millions of tons of weapons, supplies, and troops were gathered in Britain. Secret meetings unfolded, where generals debated every detail, the beaches, the timing, even the deception plans to mislead German intelligence. The Nazis, too, prepared. Hitler ordered the construction of the Atlantic Wall, a chain of fortresses, bunkers, and minefields stretching thousands of kilometers along the coast. Both sides understood, the coming battle would decide the fate of Europe. Normandy was not chosen at random. It was the closest gateway for the Allies to enter Europe. The terrain here was suitable for a large-scale amphibious landing, while lying outside the main expectations of the German defenses. More importantly, Normandy was within range of Allied air and naval forces, allowing them to protect the beaches and maintain a steady flow of supplies. If the Allies had chosen Pas-de-Calais, the Germans had already fortified it heavily. If they had chosen southern France, the distance would have made reinforcements nearly impossible. Normandy represented the perfect balance between strategic surprise and logistical feasibility. By choosing Normandy, the Allies delivered a decisive blow, breaking through Hitler's Atlantic Wall, opening the road to liberate France, and advancing toward the heart of Germany. This was a masterstroke of strategy, victory achieved not only through sheer force, but through precise calculation. In preparation for June 6, 1944, the Allies assembled a force of unprecedented scale. Over 5,000 warships, destroyers, cruisers, and transports crowded the English Channel. Above them, 11,000 aircraft stood ready, from heavy bombers to transport planes carrying paratroopers. In total, more than 150,000 soldiers from the United States, Britain, Canada, and other nations prepared to cross the sea and open the Western Front. Meanwhile, Nazi Germany fortified its defenses. Hitler ordered the construction of the Atlantic Wall, stretching over 4,000 kilometers of coastline, with thousands of concrete bunkers, heavy artillery, and dense minefields. At Normandy, German divisions of infantry and armor waited to turn the beaches into a graveyard. Yet the tension was not confined to the west. On the Eastern Front, the Soviet Union prepared Operation Bagration, a massive offensive in Belarus, forcing Hitler to divide his forces between East and West. To ensure success, the Allies launched a brilliant deception plan, Operation Fortitude. They created an entire, phantom army, in Kent, complete with wooden tanks, fake airfields, and false radio traffic, convincing German intelligence that the invasion would strike Pas-de-Calais, far from Normandy. Together, these elements formed a colossal tableau: the Allies, determined to liberate Europe, and Nazi Germany, entrenched in its coastal fortress. Across both East and West, urgency filled the air, as the world awaited the battle that would decide Europe's fate. At dawn on June 6, landing craft surged toward the beaches of Normandy. At Omaha, American soldiers faced a wall of fire. German fortifications rained bullets and shells, MG-42 machine guns roaring, turning the sand into hell itself. The Higgins boats opened their ramps only to be met with deadly fire. Many soldiers fell before even setting foot on land. The sea was stained with smoke and blood, cries for help mingling with the thunder of explosions. Yet amid the storm of steel, human will refuse to break. Small groups of Americans crawled forward, shielding comrades, cutting through barbed wire and minefields. Naval guns thundered from offshore, carving narrow paths for the infantry to advance. In that moment, hesitation meant death. Every step forward was a gamble between life and death. And from those trembling yet determined footsteps, the assault slowly broke through the German defenses, paving the way for victory. Normandy was not merely a landing of men. It was a sophisticated blend of strategy and technology, where the Allies harnessed every resource to turn the impossible into reality. On the night before D-Day, thousands of paratroopers from the U.S. 82nd and 101st Airborne, along with Canadian and British forces, dropped behind German lines. They cut supply routes, destroyed bridges, and seized crossroads, throwing German defenses into chaos from within. At sea, massive warships like HMS Rodney and USS Texas thundered, unleashing heavy shells upon German bunkers. These bombardments shattered fortifications and sowed panic among defenders. At Utah Beach, American troops landed off target, but this error spared them from the strongest German defenses. Within hours, Utah became the most successful landing zone. At Gold and Juno, British and Canadian forces advanced under fire, supported by amphibious DD tanks, Sherman tanks fitted with flotation screens, swimming from ship to shore. Though many sank in rough seas, those that survived provided crucial firepower to break German lines. Sword Beach witnessed tight coordination between infantry and navy. British troops linked up with paratroopers who had seized Pegasus Bridge, securing a vital corridor inland. The Allies also exploited intelligence and deception. Radar, fake radio signals, and the Phantom Army in Kent convinced Germany that the invasion would strike Pas-de-Calais. By the time the truth was clear, Normandy was already ablaze. Together, paratroopers, naval guns, amphibious tanks, and deception formed a symphony of modern warfare. A testament that victory was forged not only by courage, but by intellect, coordination, and technological might. By sunset on June 6, 1944, the beaches of Normandy were stained with the blood of over 4,000 Allied soldiers. Yet their sacrifice was not in vain. They had secured a foothold in France, opening the Western Front, the very scenario Hitler feared most. In the weeks that followed, hundreds of thousands of troops and supplies poured into Normandy. Germany, already strained by the Soviet offensive in the east, now faced overwhelming pressure from both directions. From this moment, the balance of the war shifted decisively toward the Allies. Normandy was more than a military victory. It was a testament to unprecedented cooperation among nations, the United States, Britain, Canada, France, and local resistance fighters. It demonstrated the power of unity, of strategy, and of faith in freedom. The meaning of Normandy transcends World War II. It stands as a symbol of sacrifice for ideals, of humanity's ability to overcome darkness. The rows of white crosses at the Normandy cemetery remind us that freedom is never free. It is paid for in blood, in tears, and in courage. Normandy, the greatest amphibious assault in history, opened the gates of Europe's liberation and became a symbol of sacrifice and unity. You have been watching Steel and Fire, where history and military technology merge into epic storytelling. If you found this video meaningful, leave a like, subscribe, and share as we continue our journey through the epic chapters of history.